rendering fat from chicken and duck skin today. The duality is it brings a lot of fat with it. Sometimes that can be beneficial if we're going to make a roux from the pan drippings. Also, it can be a hindrance. If we have too much fat and nothing else, we're not going to get a lot of flavor from that. I would probably put it in there for the simple fact that we talk about the skin of chicken and duck and all those things containing a lot of fat, which they do, but also fat in the skins contain some gelatin. And so it's a means of extracting that as a part of our sauce. So I'm just coming to trim the underside of these turkey breasts. And again, all this scrap meat we have, we're going to use as a part of that mousseline. If we generate enough scrap meat for the mousseline, then we'll just use the tenderloins as garnish. So we're going to peel these out. And one of the reasons why I'm peeling these out and cutting them out is that way when we stuff them, we'll have a little bit more uniform size for this. And I'll go ahead and trim off some of the excess fat, but I do want to leave some of the skin here so that we have a little bit of closure in the end and a little bit more trimming here, and I think we'll be done with this. Let's look at it. All right, so not our fault here because we didn't separate this from the leg thigh. When we talk about the chicken later on, one thing, if we're looking to stuff underneath the skin of the breast, we want to make sure we take more of that skin away from the leg and thigh so that this portion here would be covered with skin as well. But since we purchased just turkey breast for this, that's not something that's a miscut of our fault. Need to trim up this one as well. So again, I'm looking for that connective tissue, the silver skin elastin that we talked about, just to take that off because we know that that's not going to break down during the cooking process. And all I'm doing is just rolling away a lot of this extra fat here, so I end up with a little extra skin here. We can always trim that off later on, but if we put a lot of stuffing underneath the skin here, that'll help us ensure we get it covered. A little bit of this here. All right, so same thing here. A little bit more skin than what we had with the other piece. I see a little bit of cartilage here from that keel bone. Just going to trim that off real quick. And so whether it's the turkey breast or the chicken breast, from this thicker end, you know, where the wing would be, this is where we were going to loosen up and create our pocket so that we can, you know, loosen this up. We make our stuffing, or this could even be Thanksgiving coming up, regular bread stuffing we stuff underneath here. And that underneath there during the cooking process is going to help protect the breast meat from drying out. Yeah, and when we go to slice this later on, it makes one sliceable portion where you would have the stuffing or sausage underneath there with each slice of turkey breast. So that's a real great technique, especially if we're looking to produce a nice sliceable portion we can sell as a part of an entree plate. Again, this with our preparation today, we think of turkey and Thanksgiving, that green curry mousseline, the coconut, kind of like au jus made from the pan drippings, or julienne if we thicken it with a little slurry, will help out tremendously in selling that as a different product. So what are we doing with the Cornish hens today? Okay, we're going to roast them. What with? Okay, we made preserved lemon rind. Remember, we had some already on hand. We didn't have to make them yesterday, but salting the lemons helps pull the bitterness out of that white pithy part of the lemon, and it can be used more as kind of a seasoning. We're going to make kind of a preserved lemon rind, kind of like paste or rub for this. And then we have these semi-boneless Cornish hens, and so typically we would have the breastbone in this and the rib bones in this, and these cook a little bit quicker than what we would normally have. If this were a whole hen, what we've done in the past is we've trussed them up. What we're going to probably do with this is just try to lay them flat so we get more even cooking a little bit differently, because now that we have a kind of overall uniform thickness, these will cook a lot quicker. I imagine probably cook time in the oven somewhere around a half hour, 35 minutes for cook and rest time. And so that'll help us out with these not drying out and just kind of making that difference. But if we really wanted to make sure we had that preserved lemon flavor, because we're missing a lot of the bones in the inside cavity here, we could put that rub on the inside and the outside alike. And that'll help out. You see a lot of times with the quail, or even a semi-boneless poussin, since we're dealing with poultry this week, sometimes you'll see like a little wire stuck in it to keep it flat, and that's made for grilled quail, where I'll kind of hold it flat on the grill, quail being about half the size, so we could cook it all the way on the grill. Here, probably wouldn't be very successful at trying to cook this all the way on the grill, but trying to lay it flat, we could certainly mark it on a grill to finish it in the oven. For what we're going to do here today, first thing is we're going to truss it up. Why do we truss it?
To ensure even cooking.
Okay, to assure even cooking. Again, those of you that were through My Foods 1 class, when we talk about it, we roast a whole chicken without trussing it, it's going to kind of look like that. It's going to have the, what'd you say? Yeah, already got the John Travolta going on, a little Saturday Night Fever action. Yeah, the legs are out here cooking on their own, cooking at a different rate than the breast and the thigh. So the purpose of trussing is to pull all this into one nice, tight, compact shape to promote even cooking. And so that's the first thing. So the way we determine how much string we're going to need, in general, we use about 3 lengths of the butcher's twine. And again, you notice our butcher's twine's in the Bain Marie. That's going to help protect it from any kind of splashes of juices. Also protect it from rolling around the table while we're working with it, so that way it won't kind of run around. So we're just going to find the halfway point for a string, and there's a number of different ways of trussing. Your text probably covers a little bit different way. The video that we'll watch covers a little bit different way. My preferred method is I like to anchor on the neck portion of it. So that is also a problem you see with students, like can't really decide which is the breast side, which is the back side of the chicken. And so the thing I always use for that is if you see the little muscle man, then you're looking at the back side. And a lot of times I've had students like, Chef, I can't get this breast off the chicken, and it's because you have it on the wrong side. So you think muscle man, you're like, ooh, I'm strong, that's the back side. The other side's the breast side. So we're just going to flip it over to the back side for a minute. Hopefully you have a neck here. There's another method we can use if we don't have that, but we're going to find the center of the string, and we're going to anchor onto that. We're just going to tie onto that, and that's going to be our anchor point for this. So once that's done, we're done with the back side. We're going to flip it where that neck is coming towards us. The strings are coming kind of towards us as well. And then we're going to take the wings, and they could be cut off because sometimes the wings have a tendency to burn, but we're just going to fold them back here. So it's kind of like putting your fist behind your head. We're just going to twist them back, tuck those under, so that way it helps it sit up a little bit and those tips won't burn. We're going to run along the side of the bird to the front, and we're going to cross over here, just like you're tying your shoelaces in the morning, just one kind of cross over the twine. I pull it tight here, and that helps to pull the thighs back into the rest of the chicken. Once that's crossed over, we're going to come up on the outside of the legs, and I like to cross them over there a little bit, make sure that the tip of the keel bone is right there with the leg so it sits in it, and we could create a little safety knot here. Now you have a nice kind of compact shape. The problems I see with students doing this are sometimes the string comes along on the bottom of the wing, and what happens is it's pulling down instead of kind of across from that thigh. See how it kind of like pulls it straight across? You don't want to pull the string on top of the breast, because when you go to pull the string, sometimes the skin tears, and you would have a tear across the breast meat, which people like, that skin portion, and just not getting it compact. Let me undo this real quick and we'll talk about it again. So you want to make sure you're on top of the wings, coming along the side of it, crossing over. Pulling this tight here, again, is kind of help pulling back those thighs a little bit. Sometimes you see them without that done, these legs are sticking way out in front and they're not being held in. So it defeats the purpose of trussing. So we're just going to pull those back, come around the outside of the leg thigh, cross over there, a little safety knot, or you could just tie it and cut it. But when we're looking for a good truss, as I'm going to talk about today and we're going to see in your practicals, you shouldn't be able to come here and really shake those legs loose. It should be kind of tight where it's kind of holding it all in there really good. That's what we're looking for a good truss. Same thing with the duck. So let me truss up the duck and we'll come back and fabricate this.